Hey, welcome! Today, we are diving headfirst into one of the most mind-blowing frontiers in medicine. We're talking about the incredible and kind of weird connection between what's happening in your gut and what's going on in your head. It's all about your second brain and how it might just hold the key to our mental health. So, let's start with a really big question. What if the answer to better mental health isn't just about thoughts and brain chemistry in the traditional sense? What if it's also about your digestion? It sounds wild, I know, but this idea is completely reshaping how scientists think about everything from anxiety to depression. And trust me, the stakes here are enormous. Just to give you a sense of the scale, back in 2019, it was estimated that nearly 1 billion people worldwide were living with a mental disorder. That's not a small problem. It's one of the most urgent health challenges we face. All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to tackle that phrase, a gut feeling, and see what's really behind it. Then, I'll introduce you to your psychobiome. You're going to want to know what that is. We'll look at some amazing clues from a PTSD study, talk about how we can actually retune this whole system, and finally, we'll peek into the future of what's called precision psychobiotics. Okay, first up, a gut feeling about mental health. You know, we say it all the time, right? I've just got a gut feeling. Well, it turns out that's not just a cute little phrase. It's pointing to a profound biological reality that science is finally catching up to. Now, the idea that our stomach and our emotions are linked isn't new. People have known this for centuries. But what is new are the incredible tools we have now. Things like high-speed DNA sequencing let scientists peer into this hidden world inside us like never before. And what they're finding is turning this old wisdom into hard science. So how does this whole connection actually work? Well, it's time to meet the powerful ecosystem inside you that's kind of pulling the strings. It's called your psychobiome. And nope, that's not a typo. Psychobiome. So what on earth is a psychobiome? Okay, think bigger than just gut bacteria. It's the whole shebang. It's the trillions of microbes, yeah, but it's also all the chemicals, the signals, and the molecules they're constantly producing. This entire system, this infrastructure, is having a direct conversation with your brain, influencing your mood, your thoughts, and even your actions. I love this quote from Mauricio Cuartas Arias. It says, "The psychobiome is a chemical bridge." That is the perfect way to picture it. It's not magic, it's chemistry. There is a physical, tangible bridge sending information from your gut straight up to your brain, 24/7. And this chemical bridge is really more like a 3-lane superhighway. Lane 1 is the vagus nerve, which is basically a giant fiber optic cable running directly from the gut to the brain. Lane 2 is your immune system, sending messages back and forth through signals like inflammation. And Lane 3, this is going to blow your mind. Your gut microbes actually produce neurotransmitters, like serotonin, that your brain uses to regulate mood. How crazy is that? So that's the big picture. But what does this look like in the real world, for real people? Well, let's play detective and zoom in on a recent study that gave us some really powerful clues. We're looking at something called the SAN Narrow Gut Initiative. And what's really important here is that researchers studied a South African population. See, a ton of this research has focused on people in North America or Europe, so this work helps give us a much more complete, global understanding. The study itself involved 86 adults. And it wasn't just about lab work. These were 86 real people sharing their stories and experiences through detailed mental health questionnaires, focusing on things like post-traumatic stress. And here's the kicker. This is what they found. There was a direct link between how severe a person's PTSD symptoms were and the amount of 3 specific bacteria in their gut. Now, you don't need to remember the names: Catenibacterium, Collinsella, Holdemanella. What matters is the discovery. A clear, measurable correlation between specific gut bugs and a person's mental state. So the researchers asked, okay, why these 3? What do they have in common? And the answer was a huge light bulb moment. All 3 of them are big producers of lactic acid. And remember that chemical bridge? Well, other studies have shown that high levels of lactate can actually trigger panic attacks in people with PTSD. Suddenly, you can see the whole pathway. The bacteria make a chemical, and that chemical can influence the brain. Okay, so if this gut-brain connection can get out of whack, the million-dollar question is, can we fix it? Can we actually retune it? This is where things get really exciting, because the answer seems to be yes. To do that, let's first clear up 2 words you've probably heard a million times: probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are the live, good bacteria themselves. You're basically sending in reinforcements for your gut. Prebiotics, on the other hand, are the food for your good bacteria. Think of it like fertilizer for your internal garden. And we're seeing this work in actual clinical trials. For example, one probiotic strain helped ease symptoms for people with major depression. A certain prebiotic was shown to have a calming effect in people with anxiety. And another trial found that a multi-strain probiotic led to major improvements for depression patients. This isn't just theory, we're seeing real-world results. But you know what? It doesn't always have to come in a pill. In fact, probably the single most powerful tool you have to shape your microbiome is your fork. It's your diet. Diets rich in plants and fiber are amazing prebiotics. They feed all the good guys. On the flip side, a typical Western diet full of processed stuff can, well, do the opposite. This is all incredibly promising, but we are still in the early innings of this game. So what's next? Where is all this heading? Let's talk about the future, which is all about getting much, much more precise. And let's be real for a second. As exciting as this all is, the results in studies can sometimes be inconsistent. A probiotic that works wonders for you might do nothing for me. Why? Because we're all different. The future isn't about finding one magic pill for everyone. It's about personalizing these treatments down to the individual. And to get there, scientists have a pretty clear to-do list. They need to factor in our genetics. They have to make sure their tests are culturally relevant. And this is a huge one. They need to stop just asking which microbes are there and start asking what are those microbes actually doing? What chemicals are they making? And of course, we need longer, bigger studies to nail down the right strains and the right doses. And through it all, they have to remember this cool concept called eco-clinical plasticity. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. Your psychobiome is not set in stone. It's alive. It's a dynamic ecosystem that's constantly changing based on what you ate for lunch, how stressed you are, or what medications you take. And that's both a huge challenge and an incredible opportunity. So, let's leave it with this final thought. We hear a lot about a future of personalized medicine based on our DNA. But what if the next great revolution in mental health care is even more personal? What if it's about customizing treatments, not just to your human genes, but to the trillions of tiny organisms living inside you, shaped by what you put on your plate every single day? It's a wild idea, and it's a future that's getting closer all the time.